Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and today I'm reviewing a book which has come to us from LexisNexis Family Law on domestic abuse law and practice. It's this book here. This is an important book. It's now in its 8th edition by Roger Bird. I've got a detailed review which you can look at, which is on the web and in the journals, but I wanted to talk about this book and show it to you because I've reviewed the book before. Let me show you the front of the book. There's the front of it, then there's the spine, and then on the back you've got very little information on the back. It just says it's a comprehensive practitioner's guide to dealing with cases involving personal protection, harassment, domestic abuse and so on, and contains in one portable and easy to use volume all the essential materials needed. Thoroughly revised for new edition, and it mentions the Domestic Abuse Bill. Talk about that in a minute. Let's look at the book first of all. It's from the LexisNexis stable. It's got the house style. There's the back of it. You can see the index. It's paragraph numbering. It's not a big index at all. You can see it starts off there very straightforward. It's only a few pages. Then right at the back you've got some appendices. You've got sample forms and orders, which are very helpful. Form FL 401. This is applications for non-mols, and various others. That's Appendix 3 with the sample forms. Then Appendix 2 has practice directions concerning committals for contempt. And then you've got, again, the Family Procedure Rule, Practice Direction 12J, which is given in all its glory in Appendix 2. And at Appendix 1, you've got the statutes, which is the bill as it was. And I'll talk about that in just a minute because I'll get to the front of the book. There's the front there. There's the front page. And it does have a warning. It says, and I'll repeat this again because I've said it in other ones, it says, while every care has been taken to ensure the accuracy of this work, no responsibility for loss or damage occasioned to any person acting or refraining from action as a result of any statement in it can be accepted by the authors, editors or publishers. And the reason for that is because if you read this book, you don't necessarily get an answer to the problem you have. I deal with this area of law and it is a very difficult area. I'm going to talk a little bit about what he says in the preface in a minute. There's the blurb and then there's the preface from Roger Bird. He's a retired district judge. The law date, the date of law, is as the date set below, which is October 2020, and I'm recording this a year later. Then you've got the contents, which is the preface. Then you've got various chapter heads. It deals specifically with all the things you're looking for, which will be occupation orders, protection from harassment, personal protection orders, enforcement, obviously a whole range of other bits and pieces, and then you have the 3 appendices at the back. Right at the front, of course, you have the standard introduction to the bill, which is now an Act of Parliament. That's called the Domestic Abuse Act, and those who may apply for protection from abuse. Then there's personal protection, domestic abuse protection, and then you then move into the various types of orders. Then you go on from that. Let me just show you how the book is structured. I've got here, for instance, this is procedure, and this is important for anybody who's got a problem. A very large number of the cases, 90% of the cases I have involve domestic abuse. So at least that. This particular page here, this is the beginning. It sets out the procedure for a non-molestation order under the Family Law Act. It's not Children Act, it's Family Law Act. And it sets out which court, and it gives you basic advice, which is very helpful in terms of a blocked out grid. And then you've got, for instance, domestic abuse protection notices. You've got the standard structure, again, paragraph numbering. You've got the occasional, there is the occasional footnote. You can see very limited use of footnotes are there at the bottom. Really to give you specific points of reference for later reference areas for instance, Acts of Parliament or cases. You've then got the abbreviations that are used. There are not that many, there are a few abbreviations. You've got statutes, and you've also got, of course, the case law. There are some important cases here, some of which will be very well known to people, where there are tests set out. Now, it starts off with an introduction to the Domestic Abuse Bill 2020. Now, as you probably know, there have been a lot of problems with the statute. It's now on the statute book as the Domestic Abuse Act. And what Roger Bird says, and I'm going to quote this because it's important, he says, he talks about the debates on the bill. Many politicians have given the impression that the existing law contained no protection against such abuse, domestic abuse, and that urgent action was required to provide such protection. It was, and it's taken a great deal of time, but we've got there, I think, at the moment. He then goes on to quote, one distinguished former member of the Cabinet said,